Alright, this is the last page of my Tony Robbins journal from 2002. I would really be super happy this year if I started a Roundtable Business Network. 2, my business card is professional with a happy photo and people read it and immediately call me. 3, I'm earning $1,000 per week from personal sales and bonuses. 4, my books are professionally made, like Disney's books, La Cuarta Lora, The Fourth Parrot. In that story, La Cuarta Lora, it was a joke in Honduras when I went there when I was 23 years old. There was a old man selling 4 parrots. The first one on the lowest branch was the youngest. It could speak English. It's a Spanish joke, so like the young man walked by and said, "How much for that one?" The old man said, $5,000 because it speaks English. You can learn English. The young man says, "All right." The next one, a little bit older, $10,000. It speaks English and Spanish. Perfect, said the young man. What about the next parrot? $15,000. It types on a computer, answers the telephone, speaks Japanese, French, English, Spanish, la 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 la, on and on. And it drives a car, everything. Wow, $15,000, says the young man. What about the old one with that's sleeping and has no feathers? And the old man said, "Oh, that one's $20,000, but it doesn't do anything." "Why is it worth more than the others if it doesn't do anything?" says the young man. "Because," says the old man, "that one is the boss. Esa es la jefa." So I would like to put that joke into a book. 5, my body is super energetic thanks to the Bowflex. I never did get the Bowflex. 6, I have my own phone line and cordless phone to do my business. I didn't get that either. 7, I have my own condo for my friends to come and stay and visit. So even back then, I was having trouble living with my spouse. I would really be happy if 8, I had a Toyota RAV4. Maximum 5 years old with air conditioning, a CD player, free from mechanical problems. 9, I could go visit my brother for 2 weeks at least, the one I grew up with. 10, I could pay back my brother at least $100 a month. 11, I would work only 40 hours a week at a job, a job, with Saturdays and Sundays off. 12, I could hire a housekeeper for cooking and cleaning. 13, I could buy $100 worth of goodies per month, nutrition, shoes, canoeing, toothbrush, etc. I want nutrition and I wrote the names of my family there. Aloe vera juices, they were delicious. Well, I finished reading to you a binder from 2002, and now my dreams are on the internet. This is my easel binder, but not anymore. Now it's a blank binder, and now I will get some rest. It's 4:30 in the morning. Let's see. Life is fun. You just gotta figure out how to get things done, the things that you want to do, so that you live your life. I heard about a young man that he wanted to go to all the lakes and rivers of the world, And he did it. He did it. He wrote down like 160 locations, and he went to at least 100 by the time he was, who knows, maybe 50. More than 100. And it was just amazing how he did that. I wonder what he had to say no to. Because a family has several things that you gotta be there for your family. Sometimes you don't go anywhere, but you get 2 jobs and things like that. I used to be a responsible person. Now I don't work anymore. And so I considered that my job is making videos, and somehow you will benefit from these videos. Yeah. I wanted to tell you how rough my life was. Only in the sense that nothing too specific. One, I grew up without a dad. And women are different when there's a dad around and when there isn't. Moms are different. I come from an alcoholic family. Secret alcoholic, by the way, for my grandmother, and a chain smoker with Alzheimer's. She used to cook, and the cigarette would drop the ashes into the food, and I would eat it. And I would. At one time, I mentioned it to Grandpa, and he said, "Quiet." And so, the Grandpa was an alcoholic, but the other type, a social drinker, and so on. But he was a very happy man. As far as my own brother told me this, he said he was happy. He had a car. He lived away from everybody. He had his garden, which he loved his garden. He had peace and quiet, no neighbors, because he was wealthy. No electricity, right? But wealthy. How about that? He had an igloo for a cooler, and he used to walk around in the morning and pick up mangoes and put them in the cooler and eat them later in the day or overnight. And some of them had the skin pecked at. Of the mango was pecked because the birds would eat it. Well, we would still eat those anyway. So those were my first 7 years. I would say it was a farm, but it was really just a dog and Grandma and Grandpa working. Then I went to Chicago from Honduras, and I was inside a building, an apartment. It was so cold. And I had been a boy that was outside every single day, outside underneath a tree. I was very happy there. I was sad that I had no one to talk to me the first 7 years. And so from 7, I came to this country, 1979, December, Christmas. It was freezing in Chicago. And at school, the other kids wanted to fight me because I was white. Not Spanish. It was the Spanish kids that wanted to fight me. So then I realized that it was a public school. Now I realized it was a public school. And public schools back then, man, it was all about fighting. And gangs, later on gangs. So my mom put me in a private, here they call them middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th. I ran away from one fight and had one slight fight, 10 seconds. So that was much better. It was not daily, at least. But then the Catholic Church, which owned that school, didn't give me lunch one day, and that's where my eyes opened up. Because if your mother is late with the tuition, the school should not should not punish you by not giving you food, making you sit in front of all the other kids in the lunch table. And if it wasn't for Leo and Carlos that gave me food that day, I would not have eaten. I remember Leo saying to Carlos, let's give him something. It's not right. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Carlos. Then what else happened? Oh, there were 2 more fights in that classroom, the 6th, 7th, and 8th. But not by me, 2 other kids. That's where the Hector punch became super famous. Hector was a fat kid that began doing weights and became just one of the strongest kids in the classroom, except for Giant David. 180 pounds at 13 years old, 6 foot David. And one of my heroes, but he always looked tough, unfriendly. And he became a superhero in high school at another private high school. Because the reason I know is because I dated his sister, or she dated me. How about that? Picked me up on the car and everything. So the Hector punch was basically Hector was running away from Mark the bully that had nice glasses, and Hector swung backwards, didn't even look, hit Mark in the eye. Mark sat down, started crying. His glasses were broken. The following week he shows up with the black glasses, the ones that were new at the time because they would change with the color of the sun. Outdoors they would become sunglasses. So that became even more cool, right? But after that, Mark again began punching Hector, and he had him against the wall, the blackboard. And Hector just grabbed him in a headlock. Wrestling, WWF was super famous back then, and he bumped Mark against the blackboard, and Mark hurt his head. Now, they were just playing around because they were not really fist fighting, they were not really, it was not a real fight. But then Hector showed Mark that he was not afraid of him anymore, especially after he had thrown that one punch that had not even looked. That punch later on saved me because I was going on Lakeshore Drive and 2 black girls were going to take my bicycle because I could tell their body language. The giant black girl, she didn't want to do that. But the shorter black girl, bigger than me anyway, I was maybe 100 pounds, maybe less. At the most 100. And I was going on my brother's 10-speed. And I've already had my brother's 10-speed stolen while I was on it. So, like, when I was 7, that happened. When I was 8, by a man, a black man, skinny, bad guy. I said, "This is my brother's bicycle," and the black man at age 8 told me, "I can take it. It's mine." And he took it. And I screamed for help. And the sidewalk was crowded with people, and not one person helped me out. That's why I'm a lone wolf today, or a solo. I'm always alone. I don't believe people will come help you. So the next thing that happened was I did the Hector punch on the girl, and the 2 girls were on one side on the same side, right? And then one crossed over, and I said, "Why is she doing that?" And I was going uphill, so I couldn't really go fast. And then as soon as I went down in between them, I felt her grab I heard her windbreaker move, and I felt right here, underneath my chest here, on the side, I felt her grab. So I punched with my right hand, and I held on, and I balanced it just right. I had good flexibility. I was able to completely swing back, and I hit her, and then I rolled down, and then I looked back, and I saw her holding her mouth, and I was smiling. That was a beautiful day. That's when I started fighting back against my bullies. I mean, I fought in fights before, but I mean, this time they were strangers, and many of the bullies I had to fight in the streets or run away from were grown, grown seniors, you know, in high school, or grown guys that look big, tall, and fast running, but they couldn't catch me on bike. On my 10-speed, they couldn't catch me. Talk to you later. I'll make another video.